Right, welcome Manny to Under the Influence. How are you feeling today, brother?
Yeah, I'm okay. You know, I usually suffer with a bit of anxiety at the best of times, but...
Any anxieties today?
No, it's all these smiling faces put me at ease, so... Yeah. It's nice to see Dinesh. I've seen him through turning point.
First time you've met me, what were your first impressions?
Yeah, I always warm to someone who smiles, so yeah, I'd say first impressions are positive, for sure.
But talking about first impressions, Jazz, I met Manny probably over a year ago now, and my first impression with Manny is, you know, when you just inspired by somebody's journey in recovery, that was it. Like we sat there talking. I think it was just a little introduction. And the introduction led to about 2 hours of sat there on the same chair just talking. So I was just inspired by his whole journey from the beginning to the end, and I was just inspired by him, and I've kept in contact with Manny on a regular basis since then. But his journey is just
powerful.
For me who works in substance misuse, I see Manny's journey. He sort of went through recovery off his own back without support services that are available now, but then he's started to get involved in recovery support, and he's now hoping to pass this back on to other people. I've just referred him to become a peer mentor. He's going to be an awesome peer mentor, I tell you that. So, Manny, what has... Tell me more about this journey. I love it.
Well, really, I've suffered with, problems around addiction from an early age. I'm from a Sikh, cultural background, and if I'm really being in recovery, I've had to dig deep to find out what my problems are, because I really believe it's masking the problems, people that are suffering with addiction. I had a lot of weight of expectations on me, to succeed educationally, to be a family guy, and really from a very young age, I don't know whether it was a rebellion in me or what, but I was off. I weren't on that track, and it just progressed really.
So what was your drug of choice, Manny?
I'd started drinking, as a teenager, the usual recreational parks. It's always a hotbed of iniquity or smoking, and, so I just progressed from smoking draw, and I started picking up heroin at 18, and I used to suffer with real social phobias, and this has really stayed with me. I never addressed the problem, and just, like I said before, just masked it over and over, and it just became a solution to an underlying issue that I never faced. I honestly believed, because of all the misinformation that was around me for years and years, I believed that, it was a bit of fun that had gone too far, that I'd developed this habit. But somewhere along the line, the problem for me had switched from, fear of social interactions to the fear of withdrawal. And that's when I'd crossed that line, the talk of that dependency had occurred.
So when did the alarm bell start ringing for you?
You
said you started heroin at 18.
Yeah.
So...
I've had... Really, to be honest, they talk about hitting the rock bottom. I've had so many rock bottoms. It was never enough to shirk me out of what was going on. I couldn't see it for what it was. The consequences, I'm sure they're common to everyone who suffers with addiction. I lost... a wife, a home, jobs. It all falls apart in the end. That's the power of addiction. But the real, you can say the real bottoming out was last April. My mum she had an aortic aneurysm, and the ambulance came, and I couldn't get in the ambulance with her to go to the hospital, and the paramedics were saying, just go with her. And I had to score. And that took precedence over the woman that's nurtured me, seen me through thick and thin. She's at death's door, plumbed into a drip, being taken away, and I couldn't get in the ambulance.
Because you had to score.
Yeah, because I'd started to withdraw, and that took precedence, and I knew that this has gone too far now. That really was the rock bottom.
And how many years was that into your journey of using heroin?
I think that's 32 years in.
32, and throughout them 32 years, was you always using heroin?
Pretty much, that was the staple diet. It was just supplemented with other drugs. Yeah, pretty much that was the staple diet, because what happens is it normalises so quickly, you don't realise it's not the buzz of the heroin you're chasing anymore. You're constantly below the normal level, so you need that to bring you to normal.
Yeah.
And that was, an intrinsic part of my day. I couldn't really function, basically.
And that was the one for me as well. I think, again, I know this, but I think you've gone from using where you thought it was not an issue, a bit of fun, to then using because you thought, well, you need it, to then using from smoking to injecting. You've gone through all of that phase.
Yeah.
How did that phase how did it go?
It was just a gradual climb. I'd say it was it wasn't triggered by any events. It was just what happened with me. It was like, you can say that the transition from smoking to injecting was, I don't know if it's a natural progression or it was just what people around me were doing, and the influence of them affected me.
There's a lot of influences as well in the community of using, so it just, you start off smoking and all of a sudden you met up with a few other people that are injecting, and they say have a go at this, and it just automatically happens without you knowing. Is that?
It's not even so much peer group pressure. No one pressures you, but when you surround yourself with people, you can't help but have that influence of you. And I can honestly say I wasn't a victim of peer group pressure. Oh, go on, do this. It was just seeing other people do it, and it's like.
And you wanted to do that, and you wanted to. What was it? Was it the effect, or you just wanted to be part of the crowd?
The thing is, what happens is that they talk about this. The rate of administration and the rate of ease that comes, and going from smoking to injecting, that rate really steepens the curve. You can say the after effects of the dose. It's instantaneous within seconds. So it really was a quick solution, as opposed to. I know it sounds ridiculous in the grand scheme of things, because but when you're withdrawing, you want to take that pain away as quick as possible. And when someone says do it this way, it's a lot better and it's quicker, and you don't waste any. Because being in addiction, you can't afford. Some days you just can't afford to lose anything.
I know you talk about forward. Like, what was a daily spend? Because I know heroin it's 0.1 you buy for like £10, right?
Yeah, I mean, by the end of my addiction, I had about a £60 a day maintenance habit, and I was always good for it. If I didn't have the money, I could run tick. This is the trap a lot of people get into, because I'm the sort of person that will come good on it. I'll either manipulate my parents, get the money off them, or you can work it off. If the worst comes to the worst, you will run round, drugs at all hours and risk your liberty. You will do that, because that's the power of the problem. Addiction to these substances.
You was always working as well, wasn't it? So you had a few jobs that will always.
Yeah. There was the stability of an income. But right or wrong, other avenues of getting money availed themselves. I don't really want to go into it, but Yeah, a lot of the time it was a justification to carry on. You know, you think, well, I'm working, I'm paying taxes, I'm not hurting anyone. You know, but it was all going into addiction. You know, there was never a time that I was working to enhance my life. You know, the benefits of me working were just destroying me and I couldn't see it. But I was so, you know, wrapped up in it that I couldn't see it for what it was. You know, I really couldn't see it as the hold it had on me. And I was just, you know, clinging to this crazy notion that because I work, I'm not as bad as everyone else.
So, Manny, you say how many years, months clean are you now?
I'm 16 months.
16 months, well done.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
I tell you what, I wish I'd done it years ago. That's the truth. That's the bottom line, you know. Without people like yourselves, all the team here, you know, I would never know. I never knew there was such a thing as recovery. I really thought that it's just a question of, you know, stop using, just get on with life. You know, and that's where I failed time and time again. I never knew that was it. You know, that it's about addressing your underlying issues that cause you to...
And you talk about addressing your underlying issues and you talk about working on yourself even today. And how is it for you today to get to know who the real Manny is? When you stripped away those layers, right? How painful was that?
You know, it's a work in progress, I have to say. And it just fills me with joy today, yeah, that, you know, I'm not shackled to addiction today. It don't control me today. You know, and it really is. It's a powerful thing that I just didn't know it existed.
Someone once said to me, sorry, Dinesh, they said, describe your recovery in one word. And I couldn't think, and I heard other people, and the one word that kept coming up was freedom. It's this freedom that we don't have to manipulate, lie, be deceitful, you know. And we can just be honest today, and you can sit here today with us doing this and be honest about your addiction. And when we're in our addiction, all we did was just lie and deceitful, manipulate to get that fix.
And that's that point. We always we know, and the people around us know we're lying as well. The people around us know that we're talking rubbish. But they just choose to ignore or choose to just nod their head and think, yeah, he's talking rubbish, I know what he's going to do. I guess you say that with your mum as well and your sister as well.
Yeah.
I think your sister, you said to me, like, the amount of lies you said to your sister and then what you made her believe and what she did and the support she put for you as well. I think that was quite hard hitting now, isn't it, the amount of times you had to do that to your sister?
Yeah, it was terrible. You know, my sister is quite a pillar of the community. You know, she spent 37 years as a teacher, you know, in a city school as an English teacher. And yeah, it's kind of, it's the power of addiction. We do what we have to do, and it's not good. And yeah, thank God I don't have to live like that anymore.
I did want to take you back to your addiction for a second, because before coming out today, I read this email sent from our manager a few days ago. And there was recently somebody who overdosed outside at Eldon Street, and they were going into overdose, and the team had to go out and give CPR, hit and give them naloxone. And it was going to how traumatic that experience might have been. Did you ever witness anybody overdose, or did you ever feel you was going to overdose? Did you ever overdose?
Yeah, I overdosed on one occasion. Thank God someone knew, you know, what to do to try and revive me. You know, they knew how to administer the Narcon pen. And they knew not to shake and, you know, to startle someone. I've seen people go over, yeah, and it's frightening.
And that's one thing, is to make people aware that naloxone is available. Naloxone is an opiate receptor and reverser. So naloxone comes in 5 shots, and it's something that you have to give intramuscular. And you can give it 5 separate occasions, and that is a life-saving bit of tool. It's available at Turning Point. We give it out to everybody possible, and it is a lifesaver. So it's always good to. Do you have one?
Yeah, I've got one in my coat. I remember, it was like a token of, a token of trust when I left Turning Point and moved on to the next steps. The worker gave me one, and I really felt, I felt, even though it's such a small gesture, but I felt really warmed by that someone's placing trust in me to do the right thing for someone else if this ever occurred. So, yeah, I do carry one.
But I guess when you reverse it and think about when it had to be used on you, your life was saved because of that. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it really makes me feel grateful, really, that these services are out there, and all power to Turning Point, these and the agencies that are out there, because these are real, real dangers for people, and it's great to have people educated in these strategies to save people's lives, and it can only go from strength to strength the more we practice it and get people into this way of thinking, and placing people with a bit of trust to do the right thing when they make the breakthrough.
It's always available. So my only advice to anyone who's around people that's using heroin, even if you're not around people that are using heroin, even if you use it in a public car park or somewhere where you get naloxone, keep naloxone with you, because you can save somebody else's life. So just keep always have one in your bag. You've always got one in your pocket, so anybody around here is safe because we've got that. Taking it again back to your journey, I know you had several detoxes where you just flow over to, I think, was it parents or was it family members that thought, let's send you over to India or let's send you here and detox you. How did that come about and how was that experience?
What it was so much stigma within our communities. We don't want the family doctor knowing. It was always trying to sweep it under the carpet or keep it low level. Let's not broadcast it. And I did I went to 3 detoxes in de-addiction clinics in Punjab. And you go there, dry out, get clean. And basically the medicines are the same as it's the buprenorphine switchover or clonamine. But I could never sustain it. It was okay in India while I'm babysat. The minute I'd come back here, within that first 3 days I'd be using, more often than not in the first day. And I just didn't know why. I just thought, I just ain't got the willpower to stop myself. A lot of the time there's misinformation, the information just ain't, it's just based on, it's not factual,
Manny, what was the length of time you stayed in India and the Punjab for these detox clinics?
12 days. 12 days.
Just 12 days?
Yeah, I've done 12 days. It was always detoxing, 12 days. And I'd come out, I'd have family around me. And then I'd just be babysat from day to day. And, but I'd be drinking, and...
So what did your family think about the drink then? Was that acceptable?
Yeah, because I'm off the street drugs. This is the insanity of our culture. That because that's their reward system to a hard day's work, or everything's to be celebrated, a drink's okay. The boy's good now, he's not using drugs. Have a drink, let's celebrate.
So would you think that you was almost substituting the alcohol for the heroin? Because you were still getting a high from the alcohol.
Yeah, very much so. This concept of cross-addiction was occurring each and every time. And I had, because of this misinformation and, nobody was there to tell me what's going on, I didn't even see it for what it was,
And you talk of the stigma. Was part of the reason you went to the Punjab in India, was that because the family here didn't want anyone to know? It was, let's just ship him off there, get him sorted, comes back, everything's hunky-dory?
That was exactly it.
Jazz, you had that as well, didn't you? I remember you saying you was not going to family parties and family night. I'm guessing.
I never went into rehab. My family never shipped me over to India, but I had many occasions where I was unable to make family weddings, counterparts, all the functions we have. But anyone asked my mum, "Where's Jazz?" "Oh, he's not feeling very well. He's at home or he's at work." There was always covering you up, and it's almost without realising it, they're enabling you.
Yeah.
And if they'd been honest and said, "Well, actually, he's not well. He's drinking too much, so he can't make it." Or money, we've had to send money to India to detox.
And that's one thing I see in the Gujarati culture, in all cultures in Indian cultures, is that we try to brush it under the carpet. We don't want to. We're more bothered about ourselves than supporting the person we love. We're always too bothered about, we can't tell anybody because they'll think badly of us. Well, who actually cares if they think badly of us? Let's think about the person that we love here. He needs help, he needs support, and we need to bring him in, we need to bring him out and get him engaged in the community things again so he feels that love. And it just doesn't happen. We're just happy to ship him off and pretend it isn't happening. Like when I talk about detox and rehab with clients I see, I explain it in a really odd, strange way. I think when you look at rehab or going to detox, going away, if you have a tree that has no sunlight and no rain, it doesn't grow. If you decide to dig this tree up and put it to somewhere and give it all the sunlight and all the rain it needs, it starts to grow again. But then you decide to put it back to where it come from in the first place. Yeah. It's about the work that you do in between. I guess both of you have done this. You've done the work in between since you've dug yourself up and put yourself in sunlight. You've done the work to be able to progress and move forward in your life. I guess that's pretty awesome to actually to feel that as well, and to know that you've gone through the hard work.
No, that feels good, and I do like that analogy as well. But Manny, did you go to rehabs in the UK? And you did?
No. I was always thought I didn't really want to put 3 months in, really. I mean, I did go once. I went to one in Derby. It was like a Christian-based thing, and I went there one night. I met some random guy, and he said, "I can help you," and we discussed this thing, and he put this program together. And I went there on the Friday, and I was on the train back Saturday. And it's, these people really, and I couldn't do it. And my sister booked me once to go Barry St Edmunds. There was Abstinence 12, I think it was called, and I didn't even get out the starting blocks. It was like you said, the denial was there, and I just kept thinking I can do it on my own. I'm not doing it.
So how did you do it?
Well, the rock bottom, like I said earlier, was my mum nearly dying, and I went to Canada because I knew if I'm there out the way, there's no choice. And such a big country, you can't just walk out and go walk somewhere and score. It's not a small island.
But this is where the inspirational story come from. That the Les moment when he went to the needle exchange, even though he was going to go to Canada, he went to the needle exchange before he went to Canada, thinking, "Well, I'm getting ready for when I get to Canada." So that'd be interesting for Jazz to actually hear about how that come about, because that still sticks in my head.
Yeah, that really was the big, that was the pivotal moment, really, and that, I had like 3 days to go, and I went to get clean works, and the good thing about Turning Point, they always suggest, have you ever considered treatment? They give you this form to keep a diary of what you're doing, and I said to the guy, well, this is what it is really, I'm booked to go to Canada, and do you think I should do it? Is it possible for me to, go? Would you recommend it? And I just went in there for works, and he started talking to me, and I thought, and he gave me some advice that you can do it, and it, the withdrawal won't get any worse after 3 days, And I was on and ahhing, and the days were ticking by, and I kept using, and I was saying, if I use right up to the departure date, what will happen? He goes, well, you're still going to have to take that step, you know, if you decide to take it. So I used right up until the day, and then that allowed me to get on the plane. And once I was on the plane, that was it. It's too late then. Do you know what I mean? It's gone.
No returning back.
Yeah, I'd gone past that point of no return, and I had to carry on with the journey. And it was difficult.
How long were you in Canada for?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks, and it weren't easy.
Did you use that then?
No, I didn't. I couldn't get away. I was babysat. You know, a lot of my family, they're doctors there, so they eased me. You know, they put my mind. They used to come and see me, but yeah, I had to put in the hard yards. And you know, the beauty of the turning point. You know, the guy said, you know, when you come back, come and see us because we can get you in treatment. And even at that point, I thought, yeah, I'm alright. Why do I need to go there? But they were saying in Canada, you know, this ain't the end of it, really. Because they're very well versed in how addiction works over there. They've seen it time and time again. They said, you know, this ain't, you know, this is not the answer now just because you're off it. You know, you really got underlying issues to deal with. And they made me do the referral to Turning Point. So I self-referred in Canada. And then I got a letter through and I came back. And, you know, thank God for someone directing me to...
So places like Turning Point and people like Dilesh from the Asian community supporting you, that does help, doesn't it?
It's massive. You know, like Dilesh pointed out, you know, a moment ago, that, you know, our community, they just want to sideline it. And the thing is, it's very hard for us to know what to do for, you know, and when you see, you know, someone from that background and they can point you in the direction, it's a great thing. You know, it puts your mind at ease that this guy knows where I'm coming from. And the thing is, like you said before, that they want to pigeonhole you into that you're the naughty one. You know, this is bad, this is wrong. You know, we're going to sort this out for you. No, it's about being open, and you know, it's not. It's a problem, not, you know, you don't have to be criminalised or, you know, having that negative forces.
Or even ostracising you as well.
Exactly, that's exactly the word.
Correct me if I'm wrong as well. I think there's one part of the journey I remember from you. Did you actually land in Canada? When you get to Canada and you was aiming to get heroin as well, wasn't you?
Yeah, it did cross my mind. Yeah, on the journey. You know, I landed at Pearson, Toronto, and I had to get the train to my uncle's, and you know, I had to go through downtown. And at that moment, I thought, look, I could get out of here because you know, it's not too hard in a major city, and I didn't. I mean, you know, it really, you know, it was there. You know, I felt that urge. You know, but I just battled on and thought, what have you come here for? Stay how many more years? But there was a force there that didn't allow me to veer off the path that I'd chosen by then.
Manny, I host a program on the Seek channel called Alcohol and Beyond. And I genuinely do believe, not because I host it and because I'm on there, and I do believe if programs like that, talking about it openly and freely, has encouraged more people to come forward. Talking in the Gurdwara and holding recovery meetings in the Gurdwara has helped people come forward. What more can be done in our community, in the Punjabi Sikh community, for people like yourself and me, alcoholics, drug addicts, to come forward and seek help, to reach out? What can we do as a community to encourage more people to come out, rather than them feeling ostracised, or them being, you know, felt like criminals or down and outs, and being labelled? And that's what we're good at.
I think a crucial part of it is, and it's difficult, is trying to educate people that this is a problem. It's a real problem. It's not a simple solution. You know, it's a complex medical problem, and we need to there is help out there. You know, we need to just educate people that live with other people that suffer with this addiction.
And that's a very important thing, I think. People don't realise that it is a disease. Addiction is a disease. We spoke about this as an emotion-based disease, right? But it's also a disease that affects the family. It becomes a family illness. And until the family is educated, I know it took my mum probably 4 or 5 years to actually realise that actually that you wasn't doing this on purpose, that it is a disease. 5 years into my recovery, my sobriety, right? So what do you think, you know, is the best way forward to educate the families as well as encouraging addicts to come forward as well?
Would you like to field this one?
Yeah. My personal opinion, there is services available there. Someone like Manny who went 30 years without engaging in any treatment services, without actually going on a substitute script. So if he was to refer himself into treatment, if he was ready for change and when he was ready for change, he'd see a doctor, he'd be prescribed either methadone or buprenorphine, he'd be seeing a worker on a regular basis. The worker can then refer him on to other services if needed. He'll be getting the support physically and mentally, and just the guidance. There's so much available for them in the Sikh community as well. We have poppy seeds. Yeah. The poppy seed addiction is a huge.
It's growing as well, isn't it?
It's growing, and we're seeing so many people come into treatment to how to change, but they're not aware that this is. We're treating the same as somebody for poppy seed addiction as the same as heroin addiction. It's the same medication we prescribe, but once you are on a script and you're ready, I think the ready is a big word, there is opportunities to change and make that, to do that development. We also, I'm a part of the rehab and detox team. There is available abilities of going into rehab and detox, and there isn't a cost to it as well. The service do pay for that, and they do support you through that. So my overall aspect to this is once you're aware yourself that you want to make the change, there's services available out there to give you the medical support and give you the emotional and physical support as well. When we're talking about targeting our communities ourselves, our cultures ourselves, you guys are the guys in the Gurdwara, you guys are there the ones see it, you guys see the community, but talking about your community, where do you think the need is? Where do you think I can benefit? Where do you think I can support?
I think between us we're doing, this is helping, these podcasts are going to help, the TV work's going to help. I think the mainstream media is picking up on things. We've done stuff with the BBC, other outlets are doing it as well. So I think a lot of good work's coming about now, and I think it's to keep the continuity going, and not just, it's something that's going to have to be done on a regular basis. It's not something that you can just do once and then sit at home for 6 months or a year and think, well, I've done my bit. It's just going to have to be continuous. This work has got to be, it's got to be continuous. Manny, I just want to ask you, you know, before we wrap up, you're going to do a peer mentoring, and you know, to be 16 months into recovery, and for the opportunities of peer mentoring people now, that must feel really good.
Yeah, it does. You know, I've received so much help and support over the last year. You know, I feel not duty bound. I really want to, you know, give something back, because I've seen myself flourish over this last year, and it's like, you know, it sounds, you know, a bit of a cliche, I feel reborn, but I really do, that I've sort of evaded life, you know, for that long. I never knew what life was. And, you know, if I can open someone else's eyes to it, it's not a bad thing. I really do feel I'd love to, you know, allow other people to experience what I've gained from it.
And this is one thing, I'm sat here with two super inspirational people, like Jazz and Manny. Both of you have helped my work, my job, to become so much easier, because you know there's a need. You know there's a need, and you know there's people that want support and need support. And you've helped me to go out there and target these areas and target the good work and work with you. It's been a pleasure. Like, Manny's going to be an unreal peer mentor. Jazz, you continue to you're going to take over the world one day with what you're doing, and I want to be a part of that, tagging along with you. So let's just keep continuing what we're doing, and hopefully.
Manny, finally, Dilesh was being too kind to me then. I'm going to change the subject. But no, Manny, seriously, no doubt there is going to be addicts listening to this, listening to your story, and you speak so eloquently, and you've got knowledge of addiction and recovery now. If there's someone that's listening who's in a very dark place, what would you like to say to that one person or many people that are struggling and are where you were 16 months ago?
There is help out there. Don't give up the hope. There is help out there, and it takes a leap of faith to reach out. It's not, but there is. Anyone struggling, there is help out there, and I'm sure Dinesh could back me up on that you work in the field professionally. And yourself, I mean, we're all living testament that recovery does work,
Just in this one building, we're in here at Stairway Project, who's thankfully let us use the building today, and they do the aftercare, they do the recovery support, which is something unique to this city, something that once we finish in treatment or once I've got the support, there's always this. Once you've gone to rehab, once you've gone to Canada, once you've come back and you want to engage in somewhere that's focusing on recovery, you've got the Stairway Project, which is based here, Leicester, and as the hub in Leicester and Leicestershire, we're really looking to have so many services available.
Manny, is this the first time you've ever spoken is this sort of in this forum? I know you go to meetings and talk in other groups.
Yeah, pretty much. How
do you feel? How does it make you feel talking about it like this?
Yeah, it's quite
liberating.
Yeah, liberating is a good word. I feel like it's a positive outcome, because if someone can gain something, it's got to be worth it. I'm all ready to help anyone that's suffering out there, because I know that it's a big black hole. But it can be. It's not unattainable. You can climb out of it with people's help.
Manny, I just want to say, you really are an inspiration, and like I say, you speak with great passion for your recovery. You have a huge desire to help other people, and the Seek Recovery Network would be honoured for people like you to support us, because what I know, the phone calls we get, people just like you that are struggling with heroin, coke, crack, alcohol, poppy seeds, and we need people like you, champions like you, to support those who are struggling. And you, Dilesh, as well, the work you do with Turning Point, I know from that's your day job, but the hours you put in out of work hours, right, for your community and beyond the community, right, is phenomenal. And it's because of people like you that, mothers have got their sons back, wives have got their husbands back, and kids have got their fathers back. So keep up the good work, guys, and we'll be doing more work with you. So just finally, one question. What would you say you're under the influence today of?
Life.
Wow. Dilesh?
Love. It's love. It's all love. The people I'm here with is just love.
Right, there we are. That's it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Cheers. Thanks, Dinesh.